final one that I've read is My Sweet Yami by exyami. Here is the cover, here is her username, all of her information, all his or her information will be linked in the description below. So sorry, I did not mean to assume genders here. You genuinely didn't. So this is not so much set in the Yu-Gi-Oh world. There is mention of dueling, and Yami and Yugi are both into it, but it is not the focus of this story. Instead, this is the focus of Yugi being abused by his father, and his grandpa is sick, and Yami, he comes to the rescue because Pharaoh enjoys rescuing his Yugi. Anyway, so there is a ton of shipping in this story. So if you are a shipper of many shippings in the Yu-Gi-Oh world, you will love this story. If you're not, then I'm not, but I still like this story because it's just that I like the plot line and I like the characters and I like the way they were written. So the story itself is very good, and I think it is worth having a look at. Even if you just go and read the first chapter, I mean, it takes 5 minutes and you're either hooked or you're not. I really think this is a story that you should go and check out. It is an ongoing story, which I was disappointed about. I wanted to read a whole story. I try to only read finished stories on Wattpad because I get depressed when I can't continue reading obsessively. Okay, it's an obsession, and I'm on summer break, so I have time to read. So I've been staying up late the last several nights reading, not just fanfiction, but other stories too, and we'll get that into other videos on this channel. But I just wanted to focus on fanfiction for this review, whatever you want to call this discussion, this nerd out, whatever you want to call it. That's what this is, and that's what we're talking about. exyami, which is potentially one of my favorite things about this, is exyami comments back, and I greatly enjoy that because it feels more interactive, and it makes you feel more like involved with the story, and who doesn't love that? I know I do. So in this story, Yugi is being abused by his father, and Yami and his cousins, Bakura, Malik, and of course Seto Kaiba. A little bit of puppy shipping going on up in here, right alongside the puzzle shipping, along with a bunch of other shippings. Ship all of the ships. So Yami runs into Yugi while Yugi is sitting under a cherry blossom tree, which becomes a constant theme throughout the story, which I frankly love because it's just like stringing it together. Like, you just think of cherry blossoms now when you read the story. And Yami runs into him and sees he's hurt, but Yugi does not want to accept his help at first because obviously when you're in an abused relationship with somebody, don't know how much you guys know about that, but when you don't want to tell somebody else about it because you're either fearful of being blamed, you're fearful of getting in more trouble, or you're fearful of nobody believing you. So those are just the reasons, and Yugi is afraid of pretty much all of those. But Yami is persistent, let's say, and he chases Yugi, loses him, and then of course, kind of like a Twilight scene. Do you remember the scene in Twilight where Belle walks into the classroom and then Edward sees her and he's just like, oh shoot, not a good thing. This kind of reminded me of that scene right there because Yami walks in and Yugi's just like, oh crud, he's here. This is a very cutesy story. I mean, obviously we have the underlying darkness of Yugi's abuse and everything, but Yami does a pretty good job of protecting him. Run-ins a few times with his father. Yami may or may not punch his father in the face. May or may not saying. Like I said, this has a ton of ships in it. If you're into shipping, you will love this story. If you're not into shipping, the storyline is just so darn cute, like you just won't even mind. One of my favorite things about the story was at the beginning and the ending of each chapter, exyami writes like little interactions between her, Yugi, Yami, and some of the other characters, and so it was just like them almost reacting to like the chapters and the storyline. And Yami kind of gets a little frisky over here. Okay, he does not like the way E treats Yami in this story, so I kind of agree with him. Cons. The storyline is a bit all over the place, and there are grammatical errors, but again, fanfiction, so we're not going to go super deep into that. but I was so distracted by the story that I didn't notice the grammatical issues so bad, and I think that is the difference between a bad fan fiction and one that needs to be revised. Is if you can ignore the grammatical errors, then the story is just captivating you that much that you don't have to pay attention to them. If you enjoy Yami being protective of Yugi, and let's be honest, who doesn't? You want a bit, a lot, I can't even say a lot of bit of these like cutesy, gushy, fluffy romance type stories. 100% the story is for you. And I'm forgetting something here. All of the ships. How many unicorn stickers do I give? I give this 4 out of 5 unicorn stickers.
It sounds like someone crying. Crying. I turn around and run over to the smaller me. Are you okay? I ask him. He looks up at me. I gasp. Time had stopped moving in that instant. The pink cherry blossom petals were slowly falling. The wind had stopped blowing as I stared at his cute face. He had the most beautiful amethyst-colored eyes I'd ever seen in my entire life. I could see that the boy had a pure soul. I was amazed at how innocent the boy's face was. It reminded me of a child. But I was also saddened from the boy. There were tears streaming down his perfect childlike face. If I looked closely enough, I could see a little fear in his eyes. There wasn't a lot of it, but it was there. I snapped out of my thought when Yugi moved away from me, with even more fear clouding his beautiful amethyst eyes. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you. You don't need to be afraid of me, I say softly, trying not to scare him any more than I already had. As he moves, I see that his body is covered in cuts and bruises. A lot of them looked fresh. Not a lot of them, but some of them looked like they were from a couple of weeks ago, maybe more. Some of them were still bleeding, others had dried blood on them. The bruises were either a really dark purple or a pitch black color. They looked as big as my fist. Others looked like both of my fists combined. Seeing the cuts and bruises on this boy was really pissing me off. I wanted to find whoever did this to him and kill them, or at least hurt them. Who did this to you? I asked. He started shaking like crazy. He was panicking. He started to look around like he expected that the people who did this to him were going to step out of nowhere and start hurting him again. I pulled him close to calm him down. It's okay. I'm not going to let anyone hurt you while I'm around. You don't have anything to fear, I say to him with the sweetest voice I could make. Some of the fear left his eyes. He's starting to calm down. Don't ask who did this to him. Noted. I look at him and see that next to him was a small dark blue bag. Did someone attack you while you were on your way to school? He nods his head slowly. He winced in pain as he did. I think you should go to the hospital. Some of his wounds looked serious, I say to him calmly. All of the fear and more came back to him. He grabbed his bag and went running. Well, sort of running. He was really hurt and didn't have that much strength. Hey, wait, come back.
Definitely check this story out, and it is ongoing, as I think I mentioned that already. And exyami, I am waiting. Please write more. Also exyami, stop hurting Yuki. Thanks so much for watching this video. Go ahead and go check out these stories. All the links are in the description below. If you would like to see more stories like this, which I will be posting, especially throughout the summer, fan fictions as well as reviews of my summer reading list. I am entering the 10-10-10 challenge, and one of my categories is fan fiction, so I will definitely be making more of these videos to discuss more fan fiction. And fan fiction is a real writing style. Okay, it's real. I don't like when people say, oh, it's fan fiction, doesn't count. It counts 100% because I am captivated in reading it. And a lot of times these fan fictions are just like using characters you already know, and they've created their whole own worlds and plots and everything. So I 100% think that fan fiction does count as a story to be told.